Now let's deal with young Pharaoh. And him saying that more means something negative.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this, bro. Huh? Watch this. I'm about to cook on the boys. Now, Moors, okay, is always trying to tell you that black don't mean nothing and that you should stop calling yourself black because black is not a nationality. Okay? Because black is not a nationality. Right?
Hey, Mr. Sarah Sutanseti, did you tell young Pharaoh that one of your master teachers, Dr. John Henry Clark, said this?
We are a nation within a nation in this country searching for a nationality. And once we find our nationality and serve that nationality, we'll do for ourselves what needs to be done. All ethnic groups in this country understand they got a nationality. Because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and colored and black. Because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and colored and black. Because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and colored and black. 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 You have no nationality. Negro is not a nationality. Some lazy Portuguese or Spanish took an adjective and made a noun out of it. Colored is not a nationality. Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
But it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
But it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
But it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. And anytime you call a people by their right name, anytime you call a people, name a people, and fail to relate them back to land, history, and culture, you have called them out of their name. There's no slack man or black hole. 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 There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only to relate your country. There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only to relate your country. There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only to relate your country. There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only to relate your country. The name of every people in the world relate to country. And once you think instantaneously of man, you think of nationality. You belong to something big in the world.
If not, why not? And if so, why are you allowing young Pharaoh to mock Dr. John Henrik Clark's teachings, Mr. Sarah Sutanseti? Conveniently, we might add, now that he has transitioned. That is some sellout behavior right there.
Now watch this. Watch me hit these. Watch me hit these with this word. Right? I want to show y'all something. All right? Now, when you look up the basic definition, because I know you always want to go into legal definitions and all of that. No, we're going to historical definitions. Watch this. Before it was a legal system.
Wow. I didn't know that Google gave historical definitions. I thought only unabridged dictionaries did that. Really, Young Pharaoh? You are using Google for historical definitions? Really?
Okay? When you look up the basic definition of a Moor, you see it says a member of the southwestern African Muslim people of mixed Berber and Arab descent in the 8th century. Okay? Arab descent. Are you a Arab? Are you a Arab? Now look at here. See, this is where they try to trick you. It skipped over Latin. It don't tell you the Latin definition. It goes straight to Greek, from Greek to Old French to Moor. It skipped Latin.
Now here is something interesting. It has Greek before Latin. And in Greek, it is spelled Mauros. So if Greek is before Latin, why would Young Pharaoh look up the Latin meaning instead of looking up the Greek meaning when the Greek meaning came before the Latin? That makes absolutely no sense. When counting, doesn't one come before two? But you know what? For the sake of it, let's just go with what he's saying.
Now, why is this important? Every translation came through the Latin. Every single translation of every word came through the Latin, family. And so now, why is this important? I went and got the Latin translation of the word Moor that they tried to emit from you. Now watch this. Just like Christian comes from the old French word Christian, which means a fool or stupid person, Moor comes from the Latin word moros, which means a stupid person or a heathen.
Now, Young Pharaoh just showed you. Moros, Mauros, is before the Latin translation. So why would you look up the Latin translation when Google is telling you the Greek came before the Latin translation? That makes absolutely no sense. If you want to find the true meaning of a word, you have to go back to when the word first originated and take that meaning. You do not go to the second translation and take that meaning. That makes absolutely no sense. But don't worry, check the curveball that's coming in the 9th inning.
And it was a derogatory term used by Europeans and Germans to speak down on black people.
Well, if Young Pharaoh actually left Google and traveled to Germany and Austria and Switzerland and Italy, etc., he would see that that statement is not true. Want proof? Just check the next clip. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Wiki. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try? Recently, in our comment section, we've been getting comments from certain individuals saying that, quote, we are not Moors, end quote, and that, quote, we have an identity crisis, end quote. Well, to all those that made those comments, I tell you what, go to Germany and go to Nuremberg and go to the Moors pharmacy and tell them to change their company logo. This pharmacy was established in 1442. And when the Folkfest comes around in September, Go to the ice cream stand with the name Ice More, meaning more ice cream, and tell them to change their logo. And while you're at it, make a stop in Bamberg and go to the Moore's House tea shop and tell the owner that his logo is wrong. And go to Regensburg and stop at the Moore's Pharmacy there and tell them to change their logo too. Theirs was established in 1517. Don't forget to go to Halle, Germany and tell them to remove the statue of the Moor they have on top of their Moore's Pharmacy. And don't forget to go to the Moore's Pharmacy in Bergheim, Germany, and the Moore's Pharmacy in Sarstedt, Germany. Matter of fact, just Google Mohren Apotheker, and all the logos that you find, mark down the cities and go to each one and complain. Oh, but wait, there is more. Go to Huttwil, Switzerland, and tell them to remove the logo they have for their Moors Hotel. Oh, and in case you can't read German, the translation is, the Moors will become the little princes. It says Huttwil. Now it is definitive. The Moors Hotel restaurant will receive 2 new names, the Little Prince Hotel and Restaurant of the Moorish King. Staying in Switzerland, go to the city center in Schaffhausen, where they have a King Caspar statue fountain that is called Moor's Fountain, and tell them not to call it Moor's Fountain because King Caspar is not a Moor. Oh wait, there's still more. Contact Edward Charlemont, you know, the one that made the painting called The Moorish Chief. And tell him that the guy he painted is not a Moor. Oh wait, it was painted back in 1878. Well, I guess you can contact his family and complain, or organize a boycott of the museum that has the painting until they put a note beside the painting saying, not a real Moor. Let's see. Oh, you gotta stop the Riedlinger Moor Festival. Oh, and then there is the Sarati Moor, or the Sarati chocolates. Gotta contact them too. And then there's the Mohrenbrau Beer Company in Austria. You gotta shut them down too. And that's just 3 countries in Europe. Dang. And we didn't even get to the Moorish coat of arms images for European families. Or all the priceless Moorish jewelry depicting us as royalty. So you all have a lot of work to do. Instead of commenting on here, maybe you should start writing some lengthy letters to these organizations. I don't know if you all know each other, but maybe you can band together to spread out the workload. Good luck with that. Common sense was made before book sense. Okay, Young Pharaoh. So I guess all those businesses in Germany and Switzerland and Austria, etc., with the title Moor attached to it, are all saying that their businesses are heathens? Or what? All those businesses are talking down on their own businesses? Or this pic of a logo for this Austrian coffee company, a pic that I took with my own camera in 2017, their slogan being Café del Moro. So, Young Pharaoh, you are saying that their slogan means coffee of the heathens or coffee of the stupid people? So, young Pharaoh, please explain why all these European companies are using the word more in their title if the word more means heathens or stupid. We'll wait.
Now, and so bitch, I'd rather be black.
So you'd rather be black? Really? Did you happen to look up the etymology of black? If not, here it is. We made a video about this topic last year. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quickies. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try? Brace yourselves for black, according to science, means death. This one little sentence that Prophet Noble Jew Ali said back in the 1920s has caused a lot of fervor amongst our community. To prove this statement, some people have debated showing pictures of people with black boils on their dead bodies. Some have stated that people in Africa wear black to funerals. Some Moors have even stated that Prophet Noble Jew Ali was speaking about, quote, the science that treats positive law, end quote. Well, for some, that may still be a bit of a stretch. So being that many claim to be scholars, what if we use the quote unquote science of etymology? Using etymology, which means, quote, the study of the origin of words and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout history, end quote. Black, etymologically, actually means pale. This is from Webster's Dictionary from 1893. Oh, and just to prove that I have the actual physical book, Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. It's old as hell. There it is. American Dictionary of the English Language, 1893. And we'll go to black.
Moors, peace and love. We're here once again. Canaanland Moors, we're back. A little hiatus, but you know how it goes already. We're here. Oh, let me just set up my little background right now. Peace and love to all the Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors everywhere you're at. So we had a great demonstration by one of our good brothers on Saturday with this debate stuff going on. Everybody wants to debate the Moors and all that. And he called me today and we were talking about some things, and he was saying, I'm gonna do a recap, of the debate, because there was some stuff I didn't really get to put out there. And I said, well, hey, why not just do it on the Grand Cheeks channel? Do it with Canaanland Moors, since we got our little shout out during the debate. So we're gonna let the Moor do his thing, get out whatever he didn't get to get out. It's gonna be audio, not visual, so make sure you got your pens and stuff like that so you could fact check everything. And of course, it's never just Grand Sheik on here. We always got somebody else here. So we also got Brother Yusuf on the line as well. And don't forget, this is not it. Well, let me go get the stuff. This is not it. At 4 o'clock, At 4 o'clock, we're going to be doing our interview with Brother Phil Pasquani, all right, on his book that just came out, Domes, Arches, and Minarets, 4 o'clock. So right after this, we're going to give him a shout, and then we're going to get that interview up, since we got some time today and people need to get their head beaten with some facts. So without holding up too much more, Islam more.
Islam.
Peace and love, brother, man.
Peace and love.
Well, we wanna make sure that we put it out there and, you know, let it be known that you did win the debate, because certain people already got beat up by Moors already, and they shouldn't even be talking anymore. But since they want to play around, we're just gonna send them down the gauntlet and let every Moor get a shot at these people to prove the point that we are Moors, our prophet is the real deal, and what he presented is for the salvation of the nations. Before we go in, Brother Yusuf, you got anything to add in before we start up?
Yeah, as long I just want to give thanks to the brother for even having, you know, the courage, you know, just for us to for a more to go on there and to sit underneath that, you know, because they're all a bunch of agents and BS. So I give honors for the Moor for going up there, demonstrating and standing on the square for the rest of the Moors. You know, because he did a great job. He did a great job, man. I was watching the video and I was like, man, because how he was still just so calm. Like, that was beautiful to see how calm you were still. You know, dealing with all that confusion that he was trying to do, and you still kept your composure and you stayed calm. So I just want to give thanks for that. Islam, boy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Islam more. So the floor is yours, and if we got any questions or anything like that, we'll jump in and ask whatever. But the floor is yours, more.
All right, true indeed. So basically, I'm Frederick Jones Ill. I'm from out of the New Jersey State Republic, all right, Atlantic County Territory. I've been into Moorish science for about 10 years, studying, and I did proclaim until 2016 with my dear brother, Grand Sheikh Kujo Ado Il. He was the only one that wanted to actually make sure that all our people here had nationality cards. The same way how the Prophet did it when the Prophet was in the flesh. You see, the Prophet would make sure you had a nationality card and didn't even care if he ever saw you again. Not saying that he didn't want you to make your meetings, but his thing was he wanted the multitudes to know who they were. All right? He taught them to have a sense of self-worth. He wanted to let them know that they have an illustrious history and past that predates the slavery era time. You see? So, you know, Brother Cujo, moving in the spirit of the Prophet, wanted to make sure Moors had a nationality card. Moors that was in territories where these temples was holding the nationality card hostage. You see? Like, some of these other brothers, before I get into the whole debate situation and how that came to be and what I didn't get a chance to put out, like, let me just say this. You got a lot of Moors who had a lot to say about me having a nationality card from a temple that's not in my area. You know, saying things like, well, that's way up there in Canada, etc. But really, it looks bad on them. You see? You got Moors right here where the temple is, and here they're going totally somewhere else to proclaim. So that says a lot about you. You see? Mm-hmm. So, you know, you get some of these guys in the movement, and sometimes you question what purpose they really serve. You know, but anyway, that's here nor there. You know, again, honors
to Brother Cujo. Honors for bringing Moors into the fold. That was having difficulty because it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Islam more.
All right. So, so on to the debate and the way that this whole thing came about. So a brother of mine had texted me a YouTube link with the caption for me to watch the video. So I went to the link and the link didn't work. So I reached back out to him. We going back and forth, and then finally he just wound up telling me the name of the video. So I seen that it was a Young Pharoah video. So I kind of had an idea. I'm like, oh, here we go. So when the video finally came up fully, he titled the video, he as in Young Pharoah, he titled the video, "The Black Moors Never Civilized White People." This is what the title of the video was. So I'm watching it, and he's just showing all this stuff for shock value. And it was smoke and mirrors. Like, for example, like one thing that he was showing, which was the first thing that I attacked in our debate, is he was showing the Congo War, which took place around 1897, which was a war between King Leopold and the Force Publique and some Arab Zanzibari slave traders. That's what the history is calling them. You see, we wouldn't call them that, but anyway. So this was a war in the Congo over the soil, basically. And the Force Publique, which was King Leopold's force, the Fez was just a part of the uniform. But they weren't individuals that claimed to be Moors. These was individuals from the Congo, from British West Africa, what they call Nigeria now. So it's just like he's misrepresenting the facts. And then people see the Fez, and then they brain shut off. Oh, they wearing the Fez like the Fez that these brothers wear today. And it just simply wasn't the same thing. It was a part of the military uniform. That's it.
Islam
No
more.
nationalistic purpose.
Quick interjection.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick interjection, because I know that even that whole concept came about from the Alim Seti debate. Interestingly, that Pharaoh is also Seti's minion or whatever. That still today, even though that got shut down years ago, still today people are confused with that. You know what I mean? That whole idea. There's also a book called CIA and the Cult of Intelligence. CIA and the Cult of Intelligence, where it talks about that, the different tactics that the CIA would use. And one of the things that they talked about is that same idea about them going into other countries, infiltrating the governments, putting their own people in power there, and then having them have the people there think that, you know, there's a strife between their own and them, when really those people are infiltrators. You know, but it was interesting. It was interesting that came up again, being that it's something that, you know, that concept of the Leopold video, because remember, there was nothing going on about that until they brought out that video or DVD or documentary cover with the brothers with the fezzes, and right. Yep. Nobody was talking about fezzes or negative and all that stuff, or those people were Moors. Everybody knew that those people were Force Publique. Everybody knew that who studied. Nobody were saying that they were Moors. Nobody were saying that they were pretending to be Moors or that fezzes were negative or anything like that. So it was good, like Brother Yusuf was saying, that was a perspective that hasn't really been talked about when that stuff comes up. You know what I mean? That no, those people are actually Congolese or whatever. Those people are actually from that place, and they just got them dressed up like Moors to give that whole negative, that negative perspective on the birthrights, which we know, you know, the Fez is extremely important to Moors, and it's also extremely important to Europeans being in power. But go ahead, Moor.
Yeah, and then like when I was looking at this video that Pharaoh had put up, this is before him and I had the debate, of course. Like I'm looking at the photos, and I'm like, this is almost modern. This is not from the Middle Ages, which is when the Moors was at their height. You know, in between the 500s and the 1500s is the Middle Age era of time. So I'm looking at the photos, like, what kind of cameras they had in 7-Eleven? Stop it. So I just looked into it closer, and then I found it. I'm like, wow, this is the Congo War. I'm like, so right there, I knew that what he was doing was smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
What kind of cameras did they have?
Yeah. So I'm like,
yeah, that's a good question, man.
Right. So then after that, when he was
Sorry, Mo. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, boy. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, boy.
And that's where I took it from. Black, A for adjective, sax, black, and black, pale.
Islam, more. My apologies. Everybody knows I'm off right now, so phone might be hot. But go ahead, more.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all right. Yeah, so I just started. So when I was looking at the photos, automatically I knew that was from a time well after when the Moors was at their height, when they fell. I knew that it was hundreds of years after. Now that's not to say that you still didn't have pockets, but the pictures that he showed, those weren't individuals that professed Islam. I wanted to stress that. I definitely wanted to stress that.
Right.
So then I just began to look. You know, I just started to look at things, and then I found out about the whole British West Africa colony that they now call Nigeria today. Like one of the pictures that he showed, where it was like a picture of, I guess it was the Queen, and then you've seen all of the brothers and feathers at attention. That's like from 1890. That's Nigeria. And then something else that I realized that he was doing was he was saying, like he brought up the fact that when Christopher Columbus made his first voyage from Al-Andalus and not Spain, and that's another thing that they try to hide. Like when you read Columbus's diaries, he's not calling Spain. He's calling it Al-Andalus.
Right.
So they conveniently leave that out.
Yeah.
Right. That's not more. Before you go on, my Moabite had asked a question earlier, and I just remembered, and I was like, oh, I can ask that when he gets in there. We do the interview with him. So she's watching you and Young Pharoah debate or whatnot, and the part where you're going in on the King Leopold, she's saying, well, if the Moor knows that, like he can just do some simple research and find that out. Young Pharaoh, isn't he supposed to be some smart scholar guy? Why he don't know that? Like, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a good question, right? And then, and I'm like, I told him more about it. I said, he knows this though. So that's the thing. Like, do you agree with that? Like, or did you see? Like, because when I watched the video, I'm saying like, I know he knows this information. You know, like he's not getting all upset about what you're saying and like, oh, that's not true. He's sitting there like, I already know this, but he's still going to continue on to lie.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point, Moore. And I think that's valid. And the funny thing about that is I noticed that one of the people in the commenting in favor of Young Pharoah was this guy, Dane Calloway. And see, he's another guy. Like, you guys do all of this research, and you mean to tell me that you mistook a military force from almost damn near the 1900s for the Moors of the Middle Ages, you got to be kidding me. You know, it's just totally irresponsible. But I also realize that some of these guys, they do things for shock value and not necessarily based in scholarship.
Oh yeah, and
they don't really want to rate.
Sorry, more, and also too, a lot of these people don't like to get rebutted, so make sure you call them those guys and stuff. We already know who you're talking about, but call those people those guys, because they like to snitch on YouTube or snitch to YouTube on our channel when we start beating their ass with facts. So certain people who snitched already on our channel, we don't want to say their name. We just want to say those guys, because they're gonna pull some copyright infringement, because we use their name, which lets you know that they're a corporation, because only corporations would copyright names and stuff like that. But here nor there. Carry on. Carry on.
All right. So so one other thing that I've seen that he was trying to pull was he was saying that the Moors is traitors, and he was showing this book by Dr. Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakanan. The name of the book escapes me, but it should come to me before we end this. But in the book, it was talking about how the chief navigator of Columbus's flagship, which is the Santa Maria, if I can remember correctly, was a Moor. And the name that it gave, it was a different name in the book than the mainstream history says. But the name of the individuals was these brothers called the Pizon brothers. And they was Moors, and it was 3 of them. So 2 was on the Santa Maria, and 1 was on another one of Columbus's ships. So he's admitting that it was the Moors that gave the information to Columbus, right, as far as the trade routes and all of that. But at the same time saying, well, how can you be over here and be over there? So it's like, make up your mind what narrative you want to run with. Either we was over here or we wasn't over here. So, and also what he left out was the fact that a lot of Moors done things at the point of a sword. You see? Moors can do stuff willingly, but the narrative that they paint is that our hands was raised, or that our ancestors' hands was raised to do the things that they did for the European. No. Some of that stuff was done because they capitulated. They was overthrown. And it's just like today, You got some brothers, they under pressure and they do things, and it's not for the greater good of all of our people. So, and then, and I had a chance to mention that during the debate, if I'm not mistaken. And then another thing, like there was this expedition called the Nargers expedition. And I believe it's from 1529. So this is not long after 1492. And they took another Moor on an expedition with them, a Moor that they called Estabanico, which we know that wasn't his name. That's the name that the Spanish gave him, of course. And they took him on an expedition. And this expedition, they was trying to chart and map what we know today as Florida. And they wind up shipwrecking on Galveston and all of that, and they give them credit for discovering the Southwest, the Southwestern so-called United States. But my point in bringing that up is, why is it that Spain is going on all these expeditions, and then it's a Moor in the group, if we was never over here? So he's saying that we was never over here, but then he's saying that, it's the Moors that gave them the info. So, that's these guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another interesting point with regard to that too, with regard to the language thing, is all the different languages that these Moors had to know when they came over here with Columbus and whoever. It's not like they knew one language when they came over here, right? For example, you have Matthew da Costa, who who they say was the first quote unquote black man to come to Canada. And he came over here speaking Algonquin. Like, how does he know Algonquin?
Got you.
If he's not connected to over here in some way, shape, or form? How is he coming? How is he coming from across the Atlantic over here, and he knows Algonquin to the point that he could speak with the natives here? You know, and again, it goes back to that idea of, you know, the how studious the Moors were. You know what I mean? Moors weren't these guys from that you see today that call themselves Moors. You know what I mean? Like, Moors were really on their game, whether it was metaphysics, whether it was history, whether it was language, regardless, Moors were on it 100, and they were on it more than majority of people on the planet were on it, which is why everybody came to the Moors, because everybody knows that the Moors are the custodians of the ancient Kemetic mysteries that all the Europeans went there to learn before they learned from the Moors when they ruled Europe.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Even Hernando Cortez, like the conquistador, came over with Esteban the Moor.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when I was talking about the Narvaez expedition.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So these guys, man, it's just like the way they think. Like, they'll say that they're free. Oh yeah, we free, and ain't no white man doing this to me. They don't even know that they're giving him the sovereign title when they say that. But they'll say, oh, we free. But then at the same time, they'll push the narrative, and this is what they think. And I could tell based on how they demonstrate and what they subscribe to. They think that we was in Africa naked, not doing nothing, until the European came and put us in chains. That's what they think. And it's just kind of like, how are you conscious if you think that? They think we went from ancient Egypt to slavery to the civil rights era of time, and then that's it. Like, there's, brother, it's just beyond me. Like, I just don't get it. Like, all this culture out here, all this culture on the planet, and you think that we didn't have nothing to do with none of it?
Yeah.
You know, I saw these guys, they watch Roots. Yeah. They watch Roots, and then they think that that's it. And even Roots, Alex Haley plagiarized that from a British European from his work called The African. What about that? You want to talk plagiarism? What about that?
Yeah, oh, they never bring that up. They never bring that plagiarism up at all, because that's their boy, Alex Haley, pushing the narrative.
Yep. And to add on to the Alex Haley, he died so-called penniless, and the dude who wrote the book, the actual book, his family is still getting checks off of the book. Alex Haley died penniless.
Fact. Speaking of that, they sued Alex Haley in federal court in New York in 1978. And he settled with them because he didn't want all of this stuff to come out in the trial. But that whole story is made up. He made that up.
Yep.
So who paid him off to do that? You see? So it's just, you know, like these guys, man, like I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
I said he was another, Alex Haley was a boule as well, too. Part of that circle.
Oh, yeah, I about that.
Yep.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that. And you know that all of them, what they call the Divine Nine, which is the 5 so-called Black Greek fraternities, and then the 4 sororities, so equals 9. So they refer to themselves as the Divine Nine. But they've been financed by the Rockefellers for years.
Right.
For years.
Yep.
So their whole thing It's not to raise the vibration. Their job is to suppress.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you could talk about this, since we're dealing with the debate thing, the whole concept of, because Moors are into their science or whatever, this whole concept about suppressing by keeping the Moorish history out of the minds of the people, right? Talk about the idea of, or the concept of them putting out the negativity on the Moors to suppress the people's consciousness, because we, as far as we're concerned, what Noble Drew Ali brought is what's going to save the nations, right? So anybody else who's talking about anything, if it's not in line with that, then they're probably about enslaving these people mentally. So if you could talk about just that whole aspect and your inspiration to grab the bull by the horns, if you will, and even do this debate thing.
True indeed. That's a very good question. A very good thing to bring up. And it's interesting because when they teach about the Moors of history, because I went to an HBCU. Once upon a time, I went to Texas Southern. So I had the World History 101, which is the entry level, and then you start to move up as you go further along. And they're pushing the narrative in their books and in the mainstream history of popular culture that the Moors were some pale Arabs. You see? And not that I have anything against them, because we brought them into the culture. But they're just not keeping it honest, man. They tell a lot of half-truths. And they'll push this narrative that we're blacks, we was in Africa, black, naked, not doing anything. And then some Arabs came and put us into slavery first, and then some European Christians came and did it second. Come on, who follows teachings like that? But this is the narrative that they push. And if you come and say anything different, they demonize you. But the reality of it is we practice slavery on them. We are the true Moors of antiquity. That's a fact. And you see, and this is something else that I wanted to say too, and this is not to offend any other group out there, but we know that the individuals who are the face of what we call Arabia today, Wahhabism, pardon me, they are the offspring of a lot of the mixed marriages between the true Moors and Europeans from the other side of the Mediterranean Sea. So they don't even study that. Like the harems, which a harem was I don't want to call it a brothel, but it was a house where they would keep the women that they would take from whoever it was that they conquered. And vice versa. When they would wage war on us, one of the things that they would do is take the women. So who people think are Arabs today, they're the product of those mixed marriages. And people don't want to deal with that. They look at them and say, that's a real Moor, that's a Berber, that's an Arab, we're black. What are you talking about? Black is a new tag. And that's what they made up to try to take our place in the history and remove us. And then this is one other thing that I want to say, and then I'm going to give somebody else the floor, is Pharaoh was trying to say that this is a Turkish fez, that we got the fez from the Turks. I said, what? Turkey wasn't founded till 1299. The Moors was at their height long before that. We gave them the culture. They didn't give us the fez. We gave them the fez. They came to what's known as Turkey today from Central West Asia into what's called Turkey today, close to our empire, and received the culture. And then and this is the last thing, and then I'm going to give the floor up, he was also trying to imply that we want to be like Shriners, that we want to imitate Shriners. So I asked him if he knew when ancient Arabic order nobles in the mystic shrine was founded. Now I'm talking about not the ancient. I'm talking about when the European established it and was called the USA. That was 1870 by a master mason from New York whose name was Walter Fleming. And he wanted to create a something beyond what they was doing in the Blue Lodge. He wanted to give them an honorary degree so that they could play around and all of that and masquerade around as us, while also symbolizing the fact that they defeated us and took our crown. But my point in saying what I was saying to him was, the Shriners is an imitation of us. They didn't get the Moors affairs. You're this deep researcher and you don't know that? Yeah, so that's something else that I wanted to touch on.
So, now, what were some of the some things that you got rushed on, or things that you didn't get to at least talk about? Because I already know they were playing their little give you 10 minutes, give them 25 when when it's time to talk. And then me and Yusuf were talking about how when he was talking, you were on mute, and when you were talking, he was able to stick in his little 2 cents and stuff like that. So what were some things that you wanted to put out there, just for, whether it's for clarity or information that just didn't make the cut?
Got you. So these some of these other silly guys, right? When I watched their breakdown of the debate, one of the gripes that they had against me was that I wasn't rebutting what he was saying, but what they didn't know is that I was on mute.
Right.
And so, but here's the thing. Right? Here's the thing. When I talked with Young Pharoah before we set the debate up, and he made the flyers, we laid the rules down. So
I was just gonna ask you that.
So I knew that he would have 15. Yeah. So I knew that he would have 15. Well, excuse me. I knew that I would have 15 first. He would be on mute. Then he would have 15. I would be on mute. And then it was 15 for me, 15 for him again. And then in the last round, we would be together. So what the Moors didn't know was, when he was saying what he was saying about something that they was disagreeing with, they were saying that when he was talking about the so-called Naga Kings and how that was pseudo scholarship and why I didn't interject, it's because I was on mute.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time it was time for me to go, I had to move on with what was on my agenda. And then whatever I had time for, I would address it. But these guys, they never get behind those who demonstrate the same thing that they demonstrate. Their whole thing is to say, oh, he didn't do this. Oh, he doesn't represent the Moor Science Temple of America. Oh, he didn't defend Carbon over Ali. So, that's what they do.
No, yeah, and you're also telling me about, there was some, that was the Dirty Moors thing you were talking about?
Yeah,
you're telling me that there were some issues with Moors as well with regard to the debate.
Yeah, well, yeah, true indeed. So you had Moors was calling me up on the phone. I guess when the flyer had got around, Moors was calling me up on the phone, and they was asking me about the debate. They was like, hey, is that you a sympathizer with me? It was coming as if they was in solidarity with me. That they're calling up another Moorish show and throwing me under the bus. You see? One brother who called me up on the phone, he says live that he advised against me during the debate and that he seen that I wasn't ready, when he said no such thing. He said something totally different to me on the phone. And then there's another guy who's in the chat with them, and he's doing the same thing. So I don't know what's up with that.
Well, you know, we know that you know, the it's always an after effect with those Moors. No different than when Noble Ali said, "Take this to the hedges and the highways." Those part of the great schism in the temple didn't, and then Moors start getting active, and then all of a sudden they're mad that Moors are active and doing certain things and saying certain things, and now all of a sudden Noble Drew Ali didn't bring that when nobody was saying anything. These people weren't saying anything. You know what I mean? Same thing with you going on that platform, because ain't nobody sanctioned you. You know what I mean? You heard these people been talking BS about Moors. All these temple people have done nothing. Sat there. Let these people talk BS about the Prophet. Let them talk BS about nationality. Let them talk BS about moral science. Talk BS about the Quran. They say nothing. Now, Pharaoh has his 50,000 subscribers, and now, you know, you go on there, which is going to give the Moors some, you know, exposure. Now they're mad when they didn't even do anything, when he was talking crazy about their prophet, talking crazy about their holy book that they got sitting at that same temple where they're singing hymns all day. You know?
True. They never step up and defend the prophet. And then when somebody does step up, they say that they're illegitimate.
Yeah.
Like I remember when you stepped up because somebody was talking crazy. Then I remember when Dr. Ali Bey stepped up against this other guy who was talking crazy, and then they always come and say, "Oh, well, these guys are illegitimate." Like I remember during the Dr. Ali Bey debate, during the Q&A, there was a guy of all the things to ask. He wants to ask Dr. Ali, what temple is he a member of?
Yeah.
So it's like, hold up, that's the argument and not the topic that's on the table.
Exactly.
So these guys.
Yeah.
You know, but one thing too that I have forgot to, that I didn't get a chance to go into. So when I watched the video of this guy talking about Moors, throwing the prophet under the bus, and just trying to defame everything that we've ever done, everything that Noble Drew Ali has ever worked for. So and he was calling us out. I missed that part. He was calling us out. He said like 30 times, get me a moral here, get a moral here, so I could knock your fez off and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
So I went there, you know? So he was talking all crazy. So I went and I messaged him. So I was like, you want smoke with the Moors? Then let's get it. So he messaged me right back. And then I put my phone number out there. And then he called me. And then we set it up. You see? And then I asked him, did anybody speak out? He said no.
Yeah.
So these Moors saying that Pharaoh has abducted them. So, and I really want to say who this individual is, but I don't want to cause your platform any problems.
Yeah, it's all good.
But,
you already know more. They know who they are.
All right. You know, so you got this guy. He's telling me on Facebook, and listen to this. My Facebook is blocked. I'm blocked for a week, and I got blocked on the day. I got my account suspended on the day of the debate. So the morning of the 21st, I got suspended, and it's saying for a post that I had did that doesn't follow the community terms and conditions. And I'm like, well, what post is it? They didn't show me the post. But that's another thing these guys be doing.
Yeah, they snitch. You know, they snitch big time. They snitch big time, and that's how you know somebody snitched. Somebody had to complain on the post in order for them to say it violated some guideline.
Yeah, facts.
You know.
So these guys, man,
it's hard, man.
Facts, man. Like it just seems like they're more in opposition to the movement and the prophet than they are in opposition to who they should be in opposition to. You know?
Straight.
You do a whole show attacking me, you know, while attacking the guy that's attacking us. That's crazy to me.
Right.
You know, I think something like that comes with it.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you could address that too, because we know who that is. Talking crazy about you. Doing a whole show. Doing a whole show. They're talking about why you this and why you honorary member of Canaanland and how is Cujo your grand sheik and all that stuff, but then never address anything that these sellouts are saying or the agents are saying.
Like he was asking me. Yeah, like one of the first things that they love to ask you before they figure out how they're gonna attack you. One of the first things that they ask you is what temple are you a member of and who's your grand sheik. So if you say that you don't have a grand sheik and you never proclaimed that temple, then they're gonna attack you on that.
Right.
So once you do say who it is, then if it ain't somebody that they feel is in solidarity with them, now you're illegitimate.
Right.
And you a fake more. And my whole thing with that is it's one prophet, one temple.
Straight
we
up.
share nationalities. What's all of this? I'm in this grand body, I'm in that grand body, and you may wonder why people don't want to be involved in that. You know, they might as well go out on the street and just be gangbangers.
Yeah.
If you want to do that.
Because they playing cliques. Who you down with?
Grand body gang.
That's what they playing. They're not. They playing who's your friends. They're not playing nationality, consanguinity. They want to know who you chill with. That's what they really asking you. They playing in the guise of what temple you with. They're asking you who are you hanging with. They're playing clubism. They're not playing facts nationality because we're all supposed to be consanguinity.
Yep.
That's not supposed to be the question. Not what building you're in, because you're not asking me what walls I'm in. You're not asking me the architecture of the building. You're asking me who are the people I'm hanging with. That's what you're asking me. I know that's what you're asking me. Because you're not asking me what's the address. You know, you're not. You're you know what longitude, latitude. You're doing your getting together with other lords. They're not asking me that. They want to know who are you with. Because as soon as you say, or the temple you with, they're thinking of the people who are in that temple. They're not thinking about nothing else. And what they're teaching there, they're not thinking about nothing else. They playing click and who's your friends and all of that. That's what they're playing. They're not playing nationality. They're not going with the nationality, consanguinity concept at all. At all.
Yeah. And see, that's Negro, black, and colored. But then they'll say, they'll carry all that the prophets said. We ain't Negroes, black people, or colored folks, because those names was given to slaves during the slavery era of time, etc. They'll parrot all of that while demonstrating Negro, black, and colored. You practicing division, that's not the prophet, that's not nationality. So and that's not to say that we don't have issues that need to be worked out, but these guys put that out in front. They make that the supreme issue. They put that before anything. If you ain't in my grand body, or if you're not in the grand body that I think is reputable, or you over there, all right, you're not a real Moorish American. It's just a bunch of craziness. It's foolish,
Now, two questions in the chat. 3 actually. These are all from the same individual. What was the purpose of the debate? What did they want to solve by having the debate? And the purpose solve, and did they want to help those who are blind to this information?
All right. So the purpose of the debate was to validate was to validate the information that was being put out. It was to see if where we're coming from is all wise, right, and exact. It was to see who the Moors of history actually were. Were they all of these things that the brother was saying, which, in my eyes, I think I proved that to be false, while being reasonable? Because we have to stop with this. Because he was saying, he as a young Pharaoh, he was saying we need the truth and we need to stop this, while promoting these romanticized ideas. Like, do you really think in your own mind that every single Moor of that era of time, the era of time that him and I was talking about, was a bad individual? Like, you could take a nation now, a nation, a town, a city, a municipality, and you're going to find good and evil there. That duality exists no matter where you are. So for these guys to push the narrative that that all of the Moors of the Middle Ages was slave traders and was bad individuals, that shows one of two things. Either you ain't playing with a full deck and dealing with common sense, or you just want to push a certain narrative. You see? Did you have guys doing some dirt? Of course, you can look at our people now. What's different about now and then?
Right.
You got good Moors now, so you had that then. You got good Moors now, and you had that then. So I don't know why they're pushing that narrative, and that's just what I wanted to get straightened out. So that's what the debate was about. Then I think the purpose was, if I think that was one of the questions, I think the purpose was to just clear up some stuff.
Right.
And yeah.
Now,
and
one thing.
Touch on some of the slides that I didn't get a chance to share it.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I found that was interesting was when you were doing the refuting of his claims, there was maybe 5 of your rebuttals that he had nothing to say after. No, he just jumped to some next subject matter. Now, do you think that is based on him studying and knowing, or really him getting shut the hell down and he just had nothing to say? Like, there's nothing, there's no argument after that.
I think it's the first thing that you said. I think he knows better.
Right.
At least part of me feels like that. On some of the stuff he knows better, and then on other things, maybe he may really think the things that he thinks.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of both. Because we know these guys are intellectually dishonest. Sometimes, you know, like this is something that I wanted to mention too. Is like, we'll take the Elder Moore, you know, good brother. You know, he'll say that we like to take the good things that we find about us and we like to flash it everywhere, but then the bad, we want to kind of hide it. So I think, you know, with him, he wants to, like, they push this narrative again, like I told you, that we was in Africa naked, not messing with nobody. Boom, we wound up in slavery. It didn't go like that. We was doing stuff too. We was at war with the Europeans for a long time. So I think it's a combination of both, man. These guys are intellectually dishonest when they feel like being that way.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So, and one thing too that I didn't say, let me say this too though, to be completely honest. When I spoke with him, when we had the initial phone conversation, it was very cordial. There wasn't no arguing. And just when we communicated before the debate, the vibration wasn't negative. And it's almost like he was more upright as far as his dealings with me than some of these guys in the temple and some of these guys that got these shows and whatnot. So I have to be fair and say that. And also on the platform, he let me promote what it was that I was promoting in the beginning and in the end. So I have to give the brother credit for that.
Right.
Even though we was on different sides of the podium, he wasn't. It could have totally went left because we know how he demonstrated.
Right. Yeah.
So I got to give him credit for that. Even though I think that he's misleading the people with many of the things that he says.
Another question. Somebody, this might be rhetorical question, but you could answer for the people who actually might not know. If Drew Ali plagiarized the Pharaoh gospel from Levi, where did Levi say he got the teachings from, based on your studies?
Yeah. So based on what I've seen, Levi Dowling says that he got the work from the Akashic record.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is, for those who don't know, what that is supposed to be is when you meditate and you're reaching different states of consciousness, he's saying that that's how he came about the work. All right? This is what he was saying. And he was saying that, and Levi Dowling is quoted as saying that in this place is where everything is documented. Every word, every deed, everything that you want to know about what has ever existed is there. And we know that the prophet talked about that, where he talked about every word, every thought, every deed is documented. And the prophet also talked about being able to cross the borderland at will. So what do you think he's talking about? He's talking about the spiritual. So Levi Dowling says that this is where he got it from. And then we also know that these guys were influenced by Madame Blavatsky, this guy, Levi Dowling. And then there was another individual who was prominent around that time, and his name escapes me at the moment, but even he wrote a testament similar to the Aquarian Gospel.
Mm.
So that's my portion on that. And then not only that, let me say this too, so that I don't miss it. We know that the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet, is works compiled. And this is why he said that he prepared it.
Mm-hmm.
So he was only bringing up to speed when he was bringing you back into the constitutional fold. He wanted to give us what was missing. He never claimed the work as his own. That's why he said prepared. That's different than saying authored by or created by, and whatever other term ones like to use to say this work is mine. So he did what he said that he did. He prepared it. So
Yes,
yeah.
Oh yeah, there was as far as the I don't know if you have them there, that if you could read some stuff, or if there's stuff on mine, things that didn't make it in that you wanted to get in there, for the people's enlightenment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, truly. So one of the things that didn't make it in is I wanted to show this excerpt from a book called The Negro Law of South Carolina, where the author, which his name escapes me at the moment, but if you look up The Negro Law of South Carolina, and it's not what it sounds. It's not actually a law. This is a work that was authored by this individual who was a South Carolina magistrate at one point. And he was in South Carolina state politics. And then he resigned to retire, whatever. And then he created this work. And in it, he says that the Negro is the enslaved ancient Berbers.
Mm.
And this was like 1848 when he authored this. So I wanted to show that. And then I wanted to show another slide that I didn't get a chance to show was relative to how Young Pharoah was saying that we never enslaved white people, using his words.
Mm-hmm.
The black Moors never enslaved white people, right? Giving them the sovereign title again. You know, but I wanted to show that the very word slave is from Slav. So who are the Slavs? Who are the Slavics? The peoples of Yugoslavia. Who do you think that is? If they're not Eastern European? So what we call slavery in these days and times is named after them. So what about that? So I didn't get a chance to show that slide because I was going to show the Slavic peoples, or what the search engine was calling peoples of Slovenia. So even though I mentioned this during the debate, I didn't get a chance to show the slide, of course. So it was that, and then it was another thing too, where he was saying that we was never over here, but I was going to show the cover of. I'm not sure if people are familiar with Dr. David M. Hotep, and he wrote a book called "The First Americans Were Africans."
Africans, yeah.
And on the cover of the book is a picture of a melanated person from the Natural History Museum of London, and it says that picture was taken when the English was circumnavigating South America.
I'm just showing that right now.
And that was 1872. And the name of the ship was the HMS Challenger. For those that don't know, HMS stands for Her Majesty's Ship. So that's a British ship. And they was navigating down off the coast of South America, and they took the picture. And the picture is a so-called black man. So I just don't know why these guys say the things that they say, and then they run with it. And our people, we mental slavery is a very real thing, and that's one of the things that Prophet Noble Jew Ali came to rescue us from. He came to save us from ourselves, man.
Yeah, for real.
Dear Brother Cujo, and to the other one, we got a serious mental condition, man.
Yeah.
We got issues, you see? And I don't say that with any ill intent and with any malice in my heart, because I don't love them any different. But we are a rough bunch with that black stuff.
Yeah.
We're rough.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are some if you are, because I know Moors like to pick up get their little literature thing going on. You have any reference points on as far as PDF books that Moors could pick up out there just to reinforce their position with regard to their Moorish history?
Yes, brother. Yes, absolutely. So, last time I checked, this book was available for PDF download. I'm not sure what the status of it is now, but one of my favorite works that talks about Moorish history. It's one of my personal favorites. It's a book by this guy named James Reston, James Reston, Reston, and the name of the book is called Dogs of God, Columbus, the Inquisition, and the Defeat of the Moors. And in that book, he basically lays out how Columbus even got to the point of wanting to go to India. And of course, they thought that the Caribbean was India, right? So they called the people Indians because they thought they was in India at first. That's documented. And then when they found out that it wasn't India, what did they start calling it? India of the West, or the West Indies. So some of our folks say they West Indian and don't know that that's from Columbus and his folly. So James Reston, that book lays out a lot. He has Columbus's diaries in there. That's how I knew Columbus was calling Spain Al-Andalus. He ain't called it Spain one time.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew also that one of the navigators was a Moor. And then it also talks about when, even before he got permission from the monarchy in Spain at that time to go on a voyage, he was going to them with stories from people that had already been, what lands was to the west. And you already know where that was coming from. So I think that's a good work to get. And one other thing too that I wanted to touch on as well. In the book, he lays out the fact that not only Moors were expelled from Spain, but also Jews. Mm-hmm. But I think what he didn't do properly was he didn't explain to the people Jew in what way. Because when you say that and you don't break it down, people will think those who are calling themselves Jews today in Israel today. No.
Right.
When he says Moors and Jews, you got to remember that Moor during that time was synonymous with Muslim. Mm-hmm. So when he says Moors and Jews, essentially what he's saying is all Moors and those that fly under the 5-pointed star, which is Islam, and then those that's under what we call the 6-pointed star, which is the Judaism. All Moors, same people. And he said that the wealth or what they was able to make the voyages with was wealth that they took from those that they expelled. So they were able to make the voyage off of stuff that they took from you. So I think that was some of the important points that this author made in that book. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What about the whole? Was there any more that you wanted to add on with regard to the whole thing with the Moors? If Moors are Islamic, why do they go to court and swear on the Bible?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, and I had to clean that up because I was telling them you had the option to swear on any holy book that you choose, and that's the First Amendment protected right. What are you talking about? that you have to swear on the Bible? That's a falsehood.
Yeah, that was one where I was like, yo, yeah, this guy is definitely playing games right now. He's definitely playing games. No way he's serious with that shit.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You have the option. And then not only that, I'm not sure if I said this in the debate, but the Islamic, a lot of Islamic statesmen, and it's usually the higher up U.S. statesmen, like a senator or a congressman. We have the option to be sworn in on a Quran that was owned by Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's talking about, that you have to swear in on the Holy Bible. And then one thing that I missed too, like one thing that I didn't remember until after the debate, is he said that the United States was a Christian nation.
Yeah.
But if you read 1794,
yep,
it says that the United States isn't in any sense founded on a Christian religion.
Exactly.
I forget what article it is. Okay.
Yeah, Article 11. Yeah, Article 11.
Article 7. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, one of the Moors threw that in the chat earlier. And just that whole concept, even if even if you don't, what was it again that he said? Oh yeah, he was making the statement that that you see, look, the Moors have their Quran, and then the KKK has their Quran. So you see how the Moors are siding with the Europeans, who are siding with the Arabs or whatever. But then he went on to say that the KKK is Christian. If the KKK is Christian, why they got a Quran if they're Christian? Right?
Yeah, well, yeah. And see, those pictures, that picture that he showed, and then the other picture that he showed that was allegedly the Kaaba being built in 1900, the reason I didn't address it, and I think I mentioned it when I was talking about the Kaaba, because I told him, you got to show me more than just a picture. You got to show me where that came from. You got to show me the the primary source? You got to show me where you got that, because that can be anything. So that's why I never address that.
Right.
Brought up when he was saying that more means full ass N-word and more means stupid and all of that. He used the movie Black Knight starring Martin Lawrence.
Oh yeah,
as an example.
Right. Right.
By saying that, like he was saying that Martin's arch nemesis was calling him more. He's like, "Do you mock me more?" And he was talking about cutting Martin's tongue out. But what he left out was the fact that the king treated Martin like he was a part of the nobility.
Right.
He treated Martin like family.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, he thought Martin was being sent from another. So you know what, these guys, see, they know who to try and get that off on, but that's not working over here. Slow down with all of that. That's not working. And then, the way that I know, like, it means that they know the movies are bought is all white, right, and exact, because there's a part in the movie where Martin first doesn't know what that is because they're back in the Middle Ages.
Right.
So she says something like, "Oh, you the number of whatever," and she says 7. Same 7 that the prophet put on the front of the pamphlet. So, these guys.
Narrative. Definitely flipping the narrative. Yeah, brother Yusuf, you got any questions from the debate that we didn't talk about?
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to go in real quick on the King Leopold and specifically the army. I think it was like the public.
The force public. Yeah.
Right. If you wanted, because I think you guys got cut off at the end. Like you was about to go in on it and break it down, but I think you had ran out of time unless you had finished. Because it just looked like in the video.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it just looked like in the video you had a little bit more to say about it.
Oh, well, I think, we was jumping around, like he had me jumping around, but one of, let me think, what didn't I touch on about it? I think I did say that it was King Leopold's army when when they went into the Congo and all of that. And I'm not sure if I said the time that this force was in existence, because I think it was from 1885 to about 1960. And then that's kind of when they changed it up. And I think that's when the Congo got their independence or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but I think it has to do with that. And then I touched on that the Feds was a part of the enlisted uniform. The officers didn't even wear the Feds. It was just the enlistees, meaning the guys that took the orders. And the officers were all European so-called white. If I'm not mistaken, they consisted of course, guys from Belgium, Italy, and even some guys from the United States. So, and then I think I did touch on the British West Africa situation, because they got some enlisted guys from there, and those were the pictures that he was showing, where you showed the guys, where he's showing so-called black men in red fezzes. They were troops and weren't people who proclaimed to be Moors. I have to keep reverting back to that because that's important.
Yeah.
Because that kills the whole argument.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And and then too, to reiterate, those pictures was from what they call that's the war. The war was called the Congo Arab War, and it was fought in the 1890s. And they was at war over the natural resources and the spoils of war. Slavery, etc. So, these guys, it's just, I'm just amazed at some of the things that they have to say about Moors.
Yeah.
when the guys that he was showing were from the Congo and Nigeria. And then something else too that the history says about that too. When that war was being fought in the Congo, a lot of the troops was switching sides. So some would go to the side of what the history calls the Zanzibari Arab slave traders, and some guys would go to the side of the force police. And one other thing that I had found was that what the history is calling the Zanzibari Arab slave traders, when you look at the picture of the guy that it says that they were led by, which is a guy named Safu Ben Hamid, so we know Ben means son of. So if you say Ben or Iben, so that means son of. So this is the guy named Safu, son of Hamid. When you look at the picture of the guy, it's not a pale Arab. You see, when these guys, like me and Pharaoh and some of these other guys that about Arabs, they're showing the guys that's there now. That who they're calling Arabs was us. And this is why I was asking Pharaoh, you think that the term Arab denotes complexion? Because it doesn't. You say Arab you had these Zanzibari Arab slave traders. What I was trying to tell him when I was saying that we've been fighting with each other, we're doing it now. With this game crap.
Right.
We do it now. So, yeah.
Another quick question for you, Moore. Now, in the beginning, now, because I tried to like send through the beginning, I might have missed it. I don't know if did you have any time to go on the because I know you kept saying so far black.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go into the word black. Oh, you know what we did? We discussed it briefly when we was talking. He pulled up the Black's Law Dictionary, and I was like, "Yeah, that's valid." But then he pulled up some definition that was like color. I think the definition was the definition of color of authority, and then he pulled up something that was from some case law associated with the definition, because sometimes in the Black's Law Dictionary, along with the definition, like it'll have a case citation, and it will show you that the definition is based on what was determined in that group of Africans or something crazy like that. So
yeah, I think it was using I think it said something about, I think under color of law it was talking about something about color meaning of black complexion or something. So right. Black's Law Dictionary is saying that there's such a thing as black people or something like that. Yeah,
something like that. He was trying to throw that out there, and then I didn't respond to it simply because he didn't really show that it was worth even responding to it.
Right.
He didn't show, but I could tell that was like something extra that he was trying to throw into there. So, so I don't know. Oh, and then something else that I also forgot that we didn't get into, when he was that picture that he was showing, when he's showing the brothers and the feathers in ranks, and then you see the monarch there, and he was trying to pass that off as the British, when he was saying that the Moors was working for the British. And then what I was going to go into, which I didn't, was like I was going to tell him that the only connection to British was during what they call the Barbary Wars. And it's because of the wars that the United States created the Navy. I'm not talking about the Continental Navy that was used when the 13 colonies was fighting with the British. Because they disbanded that. But when they created the United States Navy, when they became a united front, because before they were colonies governed separately, they created that because of how bad we was giving it to them, holding their ships ransom, making them pay tribute. He was paying tribute, I don't know for how long, until Thomas Jefferson put the end to that. Snatching up their captain. So that's So that's the intercourse that they have with us, but them paying homage to us. I don't know why they missed that part of the history.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first nation to recognize them as a new nation is what we call today the Kingdom of Morocco.
Right.
So they keep saying the Moors this, the Moors did that. So, they capitulated to us many times over. And they don't understand that the treaties is in place to stop all of the wars, because we've been at war with them for a long time. But they'll push the narrative that we just traders and we got, we looking for a handout and we always been working with them. No, it didn't go like that. We've been putting in work fighting with them. So, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to ask you about this thing too. The whole thing with the muting thing. Is it that the muting, being on mute when somebody's talking? I noticed that he never had any issues with his thing being on mute and you can't hear him or whatever. Was it you're controlling the mic on your side and he controls the mic on his side or something, or is it like something like Blog Talk where the person who's running it could mute everybody and unmute everybody?
Yeah, well he controls the mute button for both of us. So what was the situation? Yeah, what was the situation in the times where you were muted and he was telling you to unmute yourself? Yeah, well, he was saying, one time he was saying that I had to unmute myself, but I was open. So it was on his end, and he was like, "Oh, my bad." So he didn't unmute me. So then, but the biggest thing for me, because that really wasn't a big deal, because whenever I started talking, I would usually ask, "Can you hear me?" Yeah. So that way, I'm not doing a whole spiel and then nobody's hearing me. Right. So I would never say too much without saying that. But my biggest thing was when he would be speaking 15 and then I'm on mute, and then the more is not hearing me say nothing, they think that I'm blocking with everything that he's saying. No, that is the rules. But see, you get these guys, and I don't want to say this other guy's name, but they don't even know what him and I agreed prior to doing the debate. So they're thinking that he's saying stuff and I'm just not saying nothing. But that's just the way it was set up. Right. For him to go for 15 and I'm just totally quiet, and then for me to go. And they usually, did he even say that in the beginning of the show? Say that again? Did he even say that in the beginning of the show? Because sometimes did he do that? Yeah, we established that. He told me that that's how we was going to do it, and I was all right with that. No, I mean when the platform happened, like when the show came on. No. Well, what happened was before he even brought me on, like before my screen even popped up, him and I was talking through the interface, and he was saying nobody can hear you, and that was true because I watched it. And then he was like, "Remember what we talked about? This how it's gonna go." So he did. He told me then, but right before we started, and it was the same thing that he told me on the phone before we had established the ground rules. But the audience didn't know the ground rules. I'm not really sure. Did he say it to them? I have to go back and see. I'm not really sure, but I don't think that they were aware. If I had to take a guess at it. Right. Because that's what I'm saying. Because if they're complaining about you not responding back, then I know it's because he didn't explain the rules in the beginning. Like if he didn't explain it in the beginning, like okay, I'm gonna go 15, and then the Moore's gonna go 15, and then we're gonna have it together, and we're both gonna,
I'm pretty sure he didn't do that because I watched it. I don't remember him saying any of that.
Right.
You know, I did skip over a little bit, but I didn't see none of the introduction as being these are going to be the rules when the show came on.
True indeed. Yeah, true indeed.
And that causes confusion again.
Yeah, it does. It does, man. It really does. So I don't know, but it was a lot that I didn't get a chance to. You know, it went how it went. You guys,
did you want to rebut his indigo? Because I heard him go in on that indigo too. You know, it was because, like you said, he was saying a lot, but you still had to say, you know, ask you a lot of questions, but you couldn't answer all the questions because you still had to demonstrate what you had. You know, because he asked you a lot of questions. You know, so I didn't know if you wanted to go in on the indigo.
Mm-hmm. The indigo thing, like I've heard that from brothers and pastors, but I've never seen anything on that as far as Columbus is concerned. Now, I'm not saying that it's not true, but I've never.
Right, because when you look at this to add on, then if you look it up, indigo just means blue dye. It's a Greek word from indigo. It's not even it's not even Latin. So it still didn't even refer to over here. So I was just shocked that he said it. Like,
yeah, these guys, man, that it's so risky though, because we reject the black branding, but 90% of what they say is pseudo and smoke and mirrors. Like the pictures from the Congo, man. You know, when I looked into that and I seen that, I'm like, man, the debate's over. Once I see that, at least to me, you know, like how can we believe anything else that you and whoever supporting you is saying? Like that's just poor scholarship. And then something else I forgot to touch on too, because a lot of them like to say, and not that Pharaoh said this during the debate, but I know the crowd, I know the type. They love to say, well, where is it? Show us it documented. If the Moors resisted, show it. And one thing that gets skipped over is the fact that when the Spanish conquered, one of the things that they like to do was they like to burn stuff. You know, like they would burn literature. They would burn down libraries. They would come in and they would wipe out every trace of existence of the culture that existed before. So that's one thing that they never touch on is the book burning. You know, the Spaniards was notorious for that. So that's why a lot of stuff we don't have. So
now one more thing just throw out there. I don't know if there's anything else, but just for some more reference points for people. Somebody was saying that one of the guys who's never ever on that channel came on that channel because, you know, YP was debating no more, and they were in the comments talking about, yeah, YP is right and all that type of stuff. We just wanted to put out this reference point again of ancient and modern Brits that let me back this up. As a political power in the country, or as nobles under a semi-Norman monarchy, their days had come to an end. And precisely at this point of time, when the last vestige of Pictish or Moorish power had crumbled away, and the latest representatives of Moorish nobility had sunk into the position of hunted bandits and outlaws, the gypsies of Galloway make their appearance. From that date onward, a Black Douglas was an equivalent of a gypsy. This is seen in another way. Claudian's lines have revealed to us that the historical Picti of Britain were ethnologically Maori, being picked only by custom. Therefore, the Picts of Galloway were the Moors of Galloway. And keep in mind, Callaway comes from Galloway. You could put 1 and 2 together on that one. And then the other reference point, again, ancient and modern Brits. And on the other side, one of the pedigrees accredited to the Olive the White, for there is a want of unanimity as to his lineage, states that he was the grandson of Frodi the Gallant, whom the Svertlings killed, that is, whom the Black Dwarves killed. The Danes then were like the Moors. The Danes were like the Moors. So
Damien Calloway.
that's right. So Galloway comes from Callaway, and the Galloway were the Picts, who were known as the Moors, and the Danes were known as the Moors. Just a reference point for people who know how to do addition properly.
Yes. Yeah. And the Negro Law of South Carolina, that work that I mentioned, the name of the author is a guy by the name of John Belson O'Neill. And he authored it in 1848. And this guy was a South Carolina state politician. All right. And the section that I was talking about, because he broke it down into sections instead of chapters, I guess. And in section 4 was the portion that I touched on, where he says that the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, and in parentheses he wrote the ancient Berbers.
The ancient, not the modern Berbers. The ancient
exactly.
Berbers.
The ancient Berbers.
The ancient
Who are the
Berbers.
ancient Berbers? The Moors.
Yep.
And then it goes on to say, and their descendants. So again, it says the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, the ancient Berbers, and their descendants. Who are their descendants? Us. And then it goes on to say, it's not
read it one more time, please. Please read that line one more time, because that reaches a broad people who do not like saying that we are all Moors. Like that right there is a broad statement right there. For all the so-called Aboriginal, autochthonous, Indian, Pan-African, whatever. This is the one right here. I love this definition. I mean, this sentence right here. I love it.
So he wrote in section 4, this is the Negro Law of South Carolina by John Belton O'Neill. Section 4 says the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, and in parentheses he wrote the ancient Berbers and their descendants, which is us. Again, ancient Berbers, not modern, not Johnny come lately, and their descendants are us. And then
they call it the Barbary Treaties.
Exactly. The Barbary Pirates, the Barbary Corsairs, Barbary and Berber is the same fact.
Yep.
And then the reason,
I love it.
And then where Berber came from, at least this is what my studies have shown, is that Berbers from Barbary, and then they called us Barber for the Barbary pirates. They're just trying to call us barbarians, I guess. So that's something that's not touched on.
Giving monthly fire alarm inspection of this building. During the inspection,
for section 4, we're going to say
Islam Moors, I don't want to cut, but they're about to do all of a sudden they're doing some fire alarm testing or whatever, so the alarm's about to be going off. So if you could do a quick closeout, and once it starts going off, then I'll just hit the thing up.
Alright. So to end it off, this section 4 goes on to say, it does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa. You know who that is. Alright. Those that come from Africa to here with a nationality. And it gives examples such as the Egyptians, all right, such as the Moors, meaning those from the Kingdom of Morocco today. And it says the Negro Asiatics, and it gives an example such as the Lascars. And we know that the Lascars are from the far east, like India and all of that. So it just gets into that. So they're just breaking it down, but they're telling you that our free national trace is more. We are the ancient Berbers.
Islam.
So yeah.
Islam more. Give thanks, yeah. Give thanks. Any closeout plugs or anything like that?
Oh, you still there?
Yeah, we're here, Mark.
All right. So yes, I just wanted the people to know that we you know, we ain't going for none of that. You know, we ain't going for the magic that a lot of these guys like to do and the smoke and mirrors. And if you call the Moors out, if these leader guys, like some of the guys we talked about, they ain't stepping up, then we're going to step up. We're going to step up. We're going to carry that torch. And, you know, we're going to make it happen. And, so I wanted to say this too. And I wanted to let the listeners know that I have an iTunes project up. So you can go to my iTunes. I have a bunch of different stuff up, but my latest project I put up in September. All right, so I put a single up there. It's called Solar Facts. It's on iTunes. So you just go to the search engine and you can type in Frederick Jones Ill on iTunes, and then you'll be able to get rerouted to iTunes, and then you'll be able to see it. And then I have a project that I'm going to put out in February called Jewel of the West Nile. All right, and on my iTunes, a few of the songs is there, and the latest one that I released is called Solar Facts. I think it's pretty dope, and I'm just looking forward to putting it out. And I just want to support. And Islam to all the Moors. Islam to all the Moors. You can reach me on Facebook. Just go in, type in Frederick Jones Ill, and you can just reach out and we can build. And you know, Islam to all the Moors, and specifically Islam to the Canaanland.
Islam. You there, Mark? We got you tripping right now.
I'm still here.
All right, brother. Brother Yusuf, you got any closeouts? I think he's still on there, but yeah, it's showing he's still on the phone, but I don't know what's going on with it. But yeah, brother Yusuf.
Just wanted to say Islam to that brother for his demonstration and for him coming on the platform and you know, giving the part 2 in the full demonstration, because he was getting cut off over there in the other one from those guys.
Yeah.
And Islam to the Moors in the chat. And happy solstice.
Yes, for sure. Definitely happy solstice for all the Moors worldwide. One day down, a few more to go. And you already know how it goes. And yeah, the Moor said he don't even know what happened. It's still showing that he's on the phone though, which is crazy. Right? You can see it right there. Showing that the 2 numbers are on the phone, but then he just messaged me. Oh, there he is right there, calling back while he's on the phone still. Hold on.
Wow.
Hold on. Peace, boy.
Yeah, Islam. I don't know what happened.
Islam. We don't know, but I'm just showing the people right now that you're on the phone twice right now. So we know that they're playing games right now, because there's no way that you hung up and then you call me back and then you're still on the phone twice.
See? Yeah. Yeah, see?
Right.
And then when I tell you guys that on the day of the debate, my Facebook was blocked and I didn't even do anything.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I didn't use any profanity. I didn't curse nobody out. I didn't even post anything. And when I woke up in the morning to post a flyer again, I was blocked.
Wow.
So we know that they're playing games.
Yeah, they're definitely watching our stuff and playing around. Peace and love to all the Moors.
Yeah.
It just dropped. It just dropped the other call that you were on. Peace and love to all the Moors. Don't
All
forget, 4 o'clock, we'll be going in with the good brother, Phil Pasquini, on Arches, Dome, Reds. We're going to go through his book that he just put out and, you know, have a little discussion on this monumental work that he did on behalf of Moorish architecture in the Americas. Right? So, you know, go get your juice, go water, get your shower or whatever like that, and then we'll see you back here. We'll see you, or get whatever else medicine you got, whatever, take your pills, whatever you got to do, and get ready for 4 o'clock with the researcher Phil Pasquini, researcher / photographer Phil Pasquini. We'll be going through the book. There'll be a little bit more images to show than this one. So we'll be going through the book and showing some things. I got some stuff highlighted that we got to talk about that he presented in the book. So stay tuned. Peace and love to all the Moors. Don't forget, hit up that iTunes. Go support the Moor with his music. Don't forget loveallah.com. And of course, can't forget the online university, rvbaypublications.com. Go on there, get your studying on, and free yourself. Islam, Moors. Peace and love to all.
Islam.